What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 4, Episode 9, Housewarming Cold Shoulder. So I didn't watch it last week, and I'm trying to get caught up with all of my episodes. So I do apologize for being late to the party. Last week was the last week of school, so, there's a lot going on with that. Award ceremony, graduation ceremony, so it was a lot happening last week. So hopefully this week I can kind of get myself together. So in this episode, we start off with Tisha and Marceau. Tisha is driving up to Black to confront. No, let me take that back. Tisha is driving up to Black, pretending like she's going to confront Marceau about the information that her mother brought to her about this picture that's floating around on the internet of Marceau in a hotel room on some trip that he took to Atlanta. So let me say one thing about Tisha. Tisha is a very stupid woman because she's the kind of woman where instead of dealing with exactly what's in front of her, she would rather deal with all the nonsense that's floating around her because that's a lot easier to handle than dealing with the truth of her life. To a person like Tisha, perception is everything. Reality is nothing. It doesn't matter that if she's in a broken marriage. It doesn't matter if she's in a faithless marriage. It doesn't matter if she's in a marriage where, there's about a whole bunch of other women involved in her marriage as well. That to her, she doesn't care about that. That doesn't matter to her, what her husband is doing to her. What matters to Tisha the most is how she's perceived. What type of an appearance is she presenting to the public? Because she grew up with this ideology that no matter what goes on at home, you always have to put up a front that everything is fine, that you're happy, that there's no problems in your life. That's the most important thing. It's not that there are no problems in your life. The most important thing is that people perceive that there are no problems in your life. So she rolls up on Black, acting like she's going to confront Marceau about this picture that Miss Wanda had shown her, and these rumors floating around that Marceau was in Atlanta with another woman in a hotel. So Marceau comes out and as she starts talking to him, her voice is already cracking. Already she's losing her resolve. But when she was driving up there, she looked big and bad and like someone who's ready to take care of business. But as soon as he comes in and sits down next to her and starts talking, her voice is already cracking. So she tells him that her mother showed her the picture and how supposedly Marceau had told Miss Wanda that Tish had already known that he was in Atlanta with a friend. Evidently, it looks like Tisha had no idea that he had gone on this trip. So Marceau says, if you bring something up to me with very little evidence, you're already hell-bent on my guilt. So that's one of the tools, because, Marceau has an arsenal of tools that he uses to play these Jedi mind tricks on Tisha. So one of the tools that he uses is if you confront me with something, that means that you already think I'm guilty. So in other words, just don't confront me with anything. So basically like threatening her to not bring up any suspicions that she may have about him, because just the fact that she's bringing up the suspicion shows that she must already think he's guilty. And so then he puts the guilt trip on her, like, why would you just, automatically condemn me? And, whoever's giving you this information, they have very little evidence of anything going on with me. So he does admit that he did go to Atlanta, and he says that he was there with a friend. But he was there with his friend Chris, which I think is that business partner that they deal with. So he was there with his homeboy Chris. Okay, so why wouldn't Tisha have known about this? This is what I don't understand. So I don't know if this stuff is fake, if this stuff is really happening. I don't know. Because if my husband were to take a trip to a whole nother state, you better believe it, I'm going to know about it. Because how can one spouse just go to a whole nother state and not tell their spouse? And I'm not talking about Drew and Ralph from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Evidently, that's what goes on in their marriage. But in a normal relationship, in a normal marriage, how does one spouse just up and go to a whole nother state and not tell their husband or their wife? I don't know how that happens. So I guess that's what happened here. So now he tells her, yes, I did go to Atlanta, but it was with Chris. So why would she have known about that already? So then all of a sudden she has tears in her eyes because Tisha, she can start yelling and screaming at Melody about nonsense, but when there are real issues in her supposedly real marriage, all of a sudden, she has no voice and the tears just start flowing. So she's got tears in her eyes, but you can tell that she's trying really hard to fight them back. And the only thing that I can think of is that this woman knows what her husband is up to. She knows what her husband is up to. So Marceau says that the picture is not him. And I'm like, okay, Marceau, obviously we will never know unless whoever took that picture comes clean. Obviously, we will never know if that was really you in that picture. But baby, you must have an identical twin, a doppelganger, a double, an imposter. There is someone walking this earth that looks exactly like you, that it is recognizable as you from the back. That's how much this person looked like you. The width of the back, the ears, the back of the head. This person looks just like you from the back. So, okay, fine. You say it's not you. None of us were there to say yay or nay about that. And whoever took the picture is being paid off to be quiet. So we'll never know. We'll never know. We can only speculate. This is all just circumstantial. So he says it's not him. And Tisha acts like, she starts talking to him about, well, I don't know why these people want to destroy us. And, I don't know why these people are always saying things about me. And these people are coming after. Girl, are you that important that people would just wake up in the morning and be like, hey, let me get online and attack Tisha and Marceau Scott? Just because out of all the people that can be attacked on television, they choose you and your husband just out of the blue just to attack y'all. So I have two things to say about that. Number one, if there's stuff, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So if there's all of these rumors that are so heavy and strong about Marceau and your marriage and whatever the hell else is going on out there, there must be some semblance of truth to it all. That's the first thing. Number two, girl, if it ain't true, if it's not true, why are you bothered? Why are you even talking about it? If you believe your husband and you believe that he's not doing anything, and let's assume that he's not. I know it's going to be like a big stretch to assume that Marceau is not up to anything. But let's assume that Marceau is not up to anything at all and he's completely faithful to Tisha. Then why are you talking about it? You are a reality TV personality. Some people might say that you're a star. I don't know about that. But you're a reality TV personality. And the people are going to talk about you. People are going to say things about you. And if they're not true, then why are you talking about it? Why is this a topic of conversation this season? If you feel like it's not true and these people are just trolling and they're just, telling lies about y'all, then don't even address it. But the fact that you're in there with your voice quivering and you're fighting back tears, and you claim that it's not even about what your husband is doing because he's not doing anything according to you and him. You're just, hurt by why are you hurt by what a whole bunch of strangers are saying? Why? Why would that bother you? These people don't know you. You don't know them. Most of the time, they're faceless. They're nameless. Who cares what they're saying about you online? But anyways, so she acts like she's really crying about that. Obviously, to me, she's crying about the fact that her husband got caught. Now, I feel like the way before these people ever came on television, there were issues with Marceau that she was battling. So why you decide to come on reality TV knowing that y'all already had it? Because I feel like they already had some type of issue. Marceau has been doing stuff since day one. I think Marceau was up to no good way before they even got married. But she wanted to push all of that aside because she found a man who had a little bit of money and can take care of her. So if you knew that there were already kind of like these issues in your marriage, why would you come on a reality TVs? Because I refuse to believe that this stuff just started this year or last year. I refuse to believe that. So why would you come to a reality TV show if you feel like, you have secrets, you have things to hide, there's things about your life, there's things about your marriage that you don't want people to know about? Why would you come on a reality TV show? So Marceau, he starts to wipe the tears from her eyes. He kisses her hand and he tells her, there's only one thing I need, and that's you. And she says, you got me. Okay, y'all are strong like that. Why are you crying, Tisha? Why are you crying then? You got a good man, a good, faithful man who's not doing anything behind your back, who's upfront and honest. Why are you crying? Why are you fighting back tears? Why is your voice shaking? Why? Moving on from that. Kimmy and Maurice, they invite Martell over. This to me was the most useless scene of all. Okay, we already know from episode 8 that they're not inviting Martell to Jalen's housewarming party. And because, it was a toss up between, do they invite Martell? Do they invite Melody? They can't invite both. So, Kimmy uses the excuse of she didn't like the comment that Martell had written under that infamous picture that Marceau had posted of all the guys. So whatever comment that he made, and I can't even remember what the hell he said, whatever comment that he posted, Kimmy didn't like it because it sort of kind of like it put Maurice in a bad light. So she didn't like the comment. So she's using that as an excuse to not invite Martell to Jalen's housewarming party. But y'all have already told him that y'all are not going to invite him. So why are y'all inviting him over to tell him again? I don't understand that. Why is this a useless scene? So he comes over and, she goes on and on and on and on about why the issues that she has about Martell or with Martell, the comment that he made, he's all about mess and drama and negative energy and she doesn't want to be around that. And she just goes, I was like, girl, why are you giving this long dissertation about why you're not inviting Martell to this housewarming party? Why? Just tell him, look, we can't have y'all at the same event because I don't know how to play nice with each other. So this time I'm going to invite Melody. The next event I'm going to invite you. Unless you don't ever want to invite him to anything at all because of that one comment that he made under that picture, then just tell him I will never invite you to anything and be done with it. He's a big boy. Martell will be just fine not coming to your events. He'll be okay. He is going to be butthurt about it. He is going to talk about it, but he's going to survive. He's going to survive. It's not going to kill him if he doesn't come to a Kimmy and Marceau event. Okay. So I just didn't understand why she had to, waste so many words and use so much of her breath to talk about or to tell this man why he wasn't invited to this housewarming party. So it just seems like to me that comment, okay, that's another thing. Why are you more bothered by the comment, which I don't even know what the comment is. So I don't know how bad it really was, but why are you more concerned about the comment than you were about the damn picture? Like, why is the picture not a big deal to you? This picture that your brother-in-law posted was designed to drag your husband through the mud. He put up that picture because he wanted to make his brother look bad. I truly believe, and I agree with Stormy 1,000%. I believe that Marceau posted that picture to take the heat off of him. Maybe he knew that this other picture of his back was going to be coming out, his big broad back. Maybe he knew that picture was going to be exposed, or that people were going to start talking about him and the rumors about him were going to start flaring up again. And so to kind of like deflect everybody from that, he decided to put this picture of his own brother up there to show that his brother was lying at the reunion. Because I don't see why a brother would do that to another. I don't want to rehash the whole picture incident, but my whole point is, why would Kimmy be more angry at the comment that Marceau made, at the comment that Martell made, instead of being angry about the picture that Marceau posted? But for the picture, there wouldn't have been a comment. I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And Kimmy, I've always felt, was the most level-headed of all the people on this show. But this right here, this energy that she's given to Martell's comment, I don't understand it. But she's hardly giving any energy at all to the picture itself. Destiny and Tiffany. Okay, so they get together, and we get to see Destiny's little boy. He's grown up so much. So they get together, and they start talking about the Galentine party. Tiffany was sort of like, you can tell that Tiffany was sort of like, siding with Melody about the whole situation. Melody and Stormy, actually, because she tells Destiny, didn't you kind of like start that whole fight with Stormy? And Tiffany was like, were you at the same event? Girl, Destiny, you started it, because the girl just asked you a simple question. She just asked you, why do you feel that way? Or why do you think you and Melody are having problems? And then for you to be like, ask her. Why didn't you? You're involved in it. All the Stormy was just asking you for your opinion on why you think Melody's acting the way she's acting. So you were getting really defensive with Stormy for no reason. And your issue is obviously with Melody, but you're getting extremely defensive with Stormy. Okay, because we all know that you're jealous that Stormy is Melody's new BFF. That's what the real issue is. So they talk about that, and then Tiffany mentions how Melody is going to be coming with her to Utah. I guess she's trying to plan. I guess what they're going to try to do, and I'm just speculating here, that they're going to have like a simultaneous guys trip and girls trip. The girls are going to go to Utah, and the guys are going to go to Atlanta, I guess. But anyways, so she brings up this trip that her and Melody are taking to Utah, and Destiny acted kind of surprised because she was like, "Oh, I thought y'all were just like work friends or something like that." She didn't understand, or she didn't know how deep Melody and Tiffany's friendship is for them to be taking a trip together. So Tiffany says that, well, this is kind of like work. Like, why would you say that? Why would you say this is kind of like work? She's basically coming with you for emotional support. Yes, she's going to be, helping you dig up information on your dad and helping you find your dad. But for most likely, she's going to be there for emotional support. So I guess, this made Destiny feels some kind of way. So she's like, oh, okay, so Melody now is BFFs with Stormy, and now she's BFFs with Tiffany. So I guess Destiny was kind of jealous that Melody and Tiffany are taking this trip. So Tiffany, she's like, yeah, she's gonna go with me, but it is gonna be mostly work, because it's gonna be a whole lot of work trying to find out, where my dad is or whatever. So it's gonna be a lot of work involved in trying to find this man. And I just didn't understand why she played it down like it was a work trip. This is a very important trip. This is one of the most important trips that Tiffany's going to be taking in her life. And she decides to bring Melody along instead of her own husband. So, and we know probably Melody convinced Carlos King to try to convince Tiffany to bring her instead of her husband, so that there could be a purpose to Melody being on the show. Because when Melody and Martell broke up and Melody doesn't get along with half of these people, it's kind of like, why is she still on the show? Because whenever she shows up anywhere, she doesn't want to talk to anybody, she doesn't want to fool with anybody. So I'm pretty sure that Carlos King and the powers that be convinced Tiffany to X out her husband and take Melody, so that Melody can have a purpose to the show. Moving on. So it's the day of Jalen's housewarming party. So Jalen questions the guest list. He's like, okay, I don't understand. He's talking to his mother, Kimmy. He's like, these people that you invited, they don't get along with each other. They're all troublemakers. I'm not understanding why you would bring them to my party. And this is just like the fact that they're using Jalen's house, or they're using Jalen to create this scene, is like bizarre to me, because this would not happen in real life. Because Jalen wouldn't be having all of these old biddies at his housewarming party. He'd be having his own friends at his housewarming party. But whatever. Anything for a scene. So he's telling his mom, like, why would you invite all these people? They don't get along. And he's just really worried because there's so much tension amongst these group of women. He doesn't want it to end up like his graduation party. So Jalen asks, what's the plan for the land that they had recently acquired? Evidently, Maurice and Kimmy have acquired some land. And Maurice said that Kimmy wanted to open a restaurant on this land. And so Kimmy was like, well, that really wasn't my intention. I wanted to open a tutoring center, but the whole restaurant thing was your idea. So what's something I don't understand? What the hell is going on with Maurice and Kimmy? Maurice does this a lot. He puts a lot of what's the word? I don't want to say, he always, like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know what this man is trying to do, but like the situation with Monster and Kiowa, when Kiowa came into town and they were supposed to have a conversation about, I don't know what it was, but he was supposed to meet with Kiowa, and instead he threw Kimmy to the wolves. He told Kimmy, "Well, I can't make it. I have a meeting, so can you go meet with Kiowa?" Monster coming to live with him. He wanted to bond with his son, but it kind of ended up being like, Kimmy was the one that was always with the boy. So, like, I don't understand why he's always putting stuff on Kimmy when it should be his responsibility, or it was like his idea. For example, with this land acquisition, he's talking about how, well, yeah, Kimmy wants a restaurant. Maybe he was joking. Maybe I'm putting 20 on 10. Maybe he was just joking. But anyways, Kimmy didn't look like it was a joke. So Kimmy was like, no, I didn't want a restaurant. I wanted a tutoring center. And so Jalen was like, okay, I can already feel the tension. So let's just end this right here. So Kimmy says, you want to pull me into these projects of yours. You beg me, to join you in whatever project. And then finally, when I give in and I start giving you my ideas, you don't want to hear them. You just want to bulldoze anything that I'm suggesting, and then we all end up doing what you wanted to do to begin with. And that's like, I don't understand what's going on with Maurice and Kimmy. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on there. So then Destiny shows up first, and then the Whitlows show up, and Martell calls to congratulate Jalen about purchasing his home. I was like, Martell, did you call for that, or did you really call because you thought Melody was there? And you still wanted to make an appearance by phone. So Tiffany, so first of all, y'all keep in mind that, Tiffany and Lewis are not going to be there for long. So Tiffany wants to make sure that she leaves an impression. So she brings up this trip to Atlanta that Martell had planned. So Kimmy was like, well, I didn't know that there was a trip for the guys to Atlanta. And Lewis is like, yeah, Martell wants us all to go to Atlanta because he's launching a new wine. And Maurice was like, I didn't know about it until now. And so you can kind of feel like, I don't know if Kimmy was kind of like getting worried or whatever. And then just to add salt to the wound, Tiffany says, I heard y'all have this history with the city of Atlanta. And then they quickly make their exit. So in the confessional, Kimmy says, this is what I'm talking about with Martell. He's really, really messy. We met with him, when they met with him to talk about how he wasn't going to be invited to the housewarming party. So Kimmy in the confessional says, we met with Martell, and that whole time he didn't mention this trip. Kind of like she was implying, like he either doesn't want to talk about it in front of the wives. He wants to keep it real secretive just amongst the guys, or like he knows how messy Atlanta is, but then he wants to bring the guys back to Atlanta. I don't know, but Kimmy thought that was kind of shady of Martell to not bring it up when all of them had met together. But then he brings it up only to one person, and whatever she thought that Martell was being messy. And Maurice was like, maybe it just slipped his mind. That's why he didn't mention it. It's no big deal. Relax. I don't know why Kimmy was so bothered about this, because really what should happen is, if she's bothered about this trip, Maurice should decline. He should politely decline and say, I can't make it. But I don't know if he's going to say that or not. So Mel arrives with Stormy and Stormy's husband, Courtney. Mel completely ignores Destiny when she shows up. And then Kimmy has this bright idea to bring Destiny and Stormy together to see if they can resolve their issues. So she takes them into a back bedroom, and it didn't go well. Let's just say it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all, because it's like neither one of them wanted to admit that they started anything. I really do feel like Destiny is the one that started the fight, because she was being kind of rude to Stormy when Stormy was just asking a question. And, because Destiny has her own issues that she doesn't want to fully address. And so she takes out her anger on everybody else, whatever. So it didn't go well. And, it was a huge breakdown in communication. It ended up with Destiny just walking out. Moving on from that, Tish and Marceau show up. Tish and Mel completely ignore each other. So Maurice and Marceau, they're teasing Melody about Martell. They're talking about why isn't she talking to anybody, and they're just teasing her about Martell. I think Maurice had said something about no, Marceau says something about, oh yeah, we talked to Martell and he says that you and him are making progress. And Melody just looks so sour, so upset, so bothered, when they start teasing her about Martell. And I'm like, Melody, you act like this when the man is there. You act like this when the man is not there. Can you please regain your happiness? And don't get so sour in the face when someone mentions Martell. Because the way that you are so bothered when this man's name, just the mere mentioning of this man's name, gets your face all twisted up like that, it shows that this man still holds a lot of power over you, and especially over your emotions. Can you please get over this man? Okay, this guy did you really, really dirty, and he's still doing you dirty. But the fact that you can't even kind of like brush it off when his name is mentioned, or kind of like joke around with the guys when they talk about Martell, say something really smart and funny back. You know what I mean? Come back with a really good, wicked comeback when they talk about Martell. Instead of you like twisting up your face like it just shows that you're bothered. You're so bothered by Martell. Anyways, so that's that. Miss Wanda shows up, and y'all, she shows up cocked and loaded. She shows up cocked and fully loaded. So Wanda shows up, and she wants to address to everybody about what was said about her daughter at Melody's pajama party. So she doesn't like the fact, okay, first of all, she starts it off by saying, hey, my niece, I guess she's referring to Kiki, my niece told me everything that y'all were saying about my daughter, and I don't appreciate that. And so Kimmy was like, oh, okay, so your niece only told you what everybody else said, but she didn't talk about what she said. So, and the way that I remembered it, they were not talking about Tisha. They were talking about Tisha and Marceau's marriage, which, Miss Wanda, is what you were talking about in the last episode. You were going around talking about Tisha and Marceau's marriage. Now, you were talking about it to Marceau, then you went to go talk about it with your daughter, but you were also talking about this marriage and the possible infidelities that were going on Marceau's behalf. So you're doing the same thing. You're airing out dirty laundry about your daughter's marriage, which is what they were doing at the pajama party. It's the same exact thing. So Marceau was trying to convince Tisha to calm her mother down. And, Tisha wasn't having that. So in their confessional, Tisha says, well, Kimmy invited her, so she knew what she was getting herself into. Okay, so Kimmy did the graceful thing of inviting your mother to Jalen's housewarming party after your mother destroyed Jalen's graduation party. She still reached out to Miss Wanda and gave her an invitation to the housewarming party, hoping that your mother was going to behave and not ruin her son's housewarming party. Because she did this good thing, you, Tisha, are going to turn it around and use it as a weapon against her and say, well, she knew what she was getting herself into when she invited her. Are you serious? So what would you have rather have happened? That Kimmy not invite your mother, and then now it becomes a big deal. Well, why wouldn't you invite my mama to your party? So what do you want? So there's no way. So this is a party for this young man. This party has got nothing to do with Melody or Stormy or Tisha or Key. This party is to celebrate the fact that this young man was able to purchase his own home. And, she invites the people that are close, the people that y'all care about, the people, she does this wonderful thing by inviting y'all to celebrate this young man's accomplishment, this young black man's accomplishment at a very young age, purchasing his own home. And you think that it was like, well, she invited Miss Wanda, so she knew what she was getting herself into. You saw nothing wrong with how your mother was behaving. So your mother has no accountability for her own actions. That she can't put aside her bitterness for 15 minutes just to celebrate Jalen and then get the hell on out. Your mom has no self-control whatsoever. So Miss Wanda says that the next time, she does her whole thing. I got an issue with you. I got an issue with you. I got an issue with you, talking about my daughter. Da, da, da. So then Miss Wanda says, the next time that y'all want to talk about my daughter, make sure that you invite me so I can nip it in the bud right then and there. And then as she's walking away, she's talking about bitches that can't buy shoes that come in a box. So then Kimmy says, hold up. We're not going to be no bitches around here. And then Jalen steps up and says, Miss Wanda, you cannot talk to my mother like that in my house. And that's where the episode ended. So we know when Marceau was trying to tell Tisha, get your mom to calm the hell down. Tisha wasn't going to do that because Tisha knows how her mother is. And this is what she wants because her mother fights her battles. Because Tisha doesn't have the strength to address these women the way she wants to, because it's all going to break down. She's going to end up crying or they're all going to end up screaming at each other. So she has her mother do her dirty work for her to address these women for talking about her and her marriage. And she thinks that her mother has so much finesse that she can do it better than her, but she can't, and she doesn't. And she thinks that because her mother is older, that the women will not come and attack Ms. Wanda the way that they can come and attack her. So she thinks it's a great, brilliant idea to have her mom go out there and fight her battles for her because nobody can come for Ms. Wanda because she's an elderly woman. So Ms. Wanda has the liberty to say whatever she wants to say, to deliver whatever message Tisha wants her to deliver. And there's no the people that she's talking to can't come at her because she's an old woman. You can't disrespect an old woman. It's just, girl, there's a picture out there with your husband in a hotel bed taken by a third party, and that third party wasn't you. And instead of addressing that, and if you felt like that picture was not your husband, why would you bring it up to him, Tisha? If you felt like, okay, that's not him, that's not Marceau, then why would you bring it up? Why would you bring it up? If that's not him, when your mother showed you that picture on her phone, what you should have done was just laughed it off, cackled, and then kept it moving and not talk about it again, because if it's not him, there's nothing to talk about. But you went as far as to address this to your husband. He denied it. And then to have your mother address these women who were talking about your marriage. But your marriage is fine, right? It's perfect. It's intact. No issues, right? Is that the reality, or is that the perception that you want to give? Let us know. Thank you so much for joining me in this review. I really do appreciate it. I will definitely get to episode 10 in a few minutes. And I really do appreciate y'all joining me. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe. If you don't like this content, don't worry about it. Thank you for stopping by anyway. And I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.